Get ready for breaking tech news. We start with a huge statement from AWS CEO Matt Garman, who is absolutely rejecting the claim that AI will cause a job wipeout on the scale of the Great Depression. Garman is framing AI not as a threat, but as the potential to create massive value, pushing back hard against the fear surrounding automation and job displacement in the industry right now. The entire AWS organization. Find out how this innovative sharing method is eliminating GPU waste and speeding up crucial machine learning projects for everyone. And finally, get ready for a major hardware shakeup. Oz has just found a clever workaround for the Apple Mac Studio shortage, now controlling the fastest public access to the M3 Ultra systems. Discover how AWS is offering cloud access to these powerful machines, and why this temporary monopoly could change how developers build applications. Stay with us, because this is the tech you need to know. Amazon Web Services CEO Matt Garman has firmly rejected claims that artificial intelligence will trigger unemployment on the scale of the Great Depression, framing AI, instead, as a source of massive value creation. These comments come amid ongoing industry discussions regarding AI-driven job displacement and broader economic anxieties. Garman stated to the Wall Street Journal that he does not believe AI will cause mass unemployment, asserting that it represents the potential to create massive value. This perspective contrasts with broader industry reporting and labor studies that acknowledge the risk of task displacement, particularly in routine information processing roles. Earlier commentary from Garman has also addressed investor concerns, with reports from CNBC characterizing fears about AI disrupting software stocks as overblown. Furthermore, in December, Fortune reported that Garman dismissed replacing junior engineers with AI as one of the dumbest things I's ever heard, emphasizing the continued importance of entry-level hires for talent pipelines. Industry analysis suggests that executive rebuttals to large-scale job loss narratives often pivot toward the idea that AI changes the composition of tasks rather than eliminating entire occupations. While routine tasks face higher exposure, roles requiring domain expertise, judgment, and technological fluency are expected to persist or evolve. This dynamic highlights a divergence between market anxiety, which focuses on potential job losses, and practical observations, which point toward the emergence of new roles in data science, AI oversight, and cybersecurity. For practitioners, the immediate takeaway is to prioritize skills in systems integration, evaluation, and human-in-the-loop capabilities over reliance on pure code generation. Garman's statements are significant as AWS is a central cloud provider, influencing investor and customer sentiment, positioning this commentary as a key signal for monitoring hiring trends, training investments, and product roadmaps focused on augmentation rather than pure automation. Amazon is rapidly approaching a $3 trillion market valuation, fueled by robust first-quarter earnings, accelerated growth in its Amazon Web Services, AWS, division, and aggressive expansion of its ultra-fast delivery network. The company's recent financial results demonstrated significant strength, reporting first-quarter 2026 earnings per share of $2.78, vastly exceeding the consensus estimate of $1.63, a beat of approximately 70%. Revenue climbed to $181.52 billion, marking a 16.6% increase year-over-year, supported by a net margin of 12.22%, signaling improved cost control across key business segments. AWS has been the primary engine of this performance, with net sales surging 28% in Q1 2026, achieving its highest growth rate in over 3 years. This growth is driven by enterprise demand for advanced cloud tools, storage solutions, and artificial intelligence computing services. Amazon is simultaneously deepening its commitment to AI infrastructure by developing proprietary chips for AWS and deploying tools like Amazon Bedrock to enable enterprise AI application development. Despite the positive momentum, investor sentiment remains mixed. While Amazon shares have appreciated significantly, with a recent market value near $2.88 trillion, caution persists regarding the pace of the stock rally. Analysts suggest the stock may require a pause following its recent surge. Furthermore, the company's ambitious capital spending plan, projecting $200 billion in 2026, has raised concerns about near-term free cash flow, even as it is expected to support future revenue. In the retail sector, Amazon is aggressively expanding Amazon Now, its ultra-fast delivery service, which promises deliveries in 30 minutes or less in new U.S. cities including Minneapolis, Orlando, and Phoenix. This expansion targets daily goods like groceries and electronics, maintaining the Prime membership as a core driver of retail strategy. However, this logistical push introduces new cost pressures, with experts noting that while fast delivery bolsters customer loyalty, it simultaneously strains logistics expenses. With Amazon's stock recently trading near its all-time high, analysts maintain a moderate buy rating with an average price target of $312.52. Key risks for investors include regulatory scrutiny, the substantial capital expenditure, and ongoing valuation considerations. Investors will be closely monitoring AWS performance, delivery cost management, AI investment, and the stock's trajectory toward the $3 trillion milestone ahead of the next earnings report scheduled for July 30, 2026. Amazon Web Services, or AWS, has introduced a solution to eliminate GPU waste and scheduling conflicts within organizations by enabling the sharing of capacity blocks for machine learning, ML, across the entire AWS organization. This feature directly addresses the bottleneck where one team reserves GPU instances for a long training job, leaving valuable capacity idle while another team is waiting to start a project. The core functionality allows organizations to distribute reserved GPU capacity based on actual demand rather than rigid scheduling predictions, ensuring teams can utilize resources as soon as they become available. This flexibility is crucial for optimizing resource efficiency and controlling costs. Capacity blocks for ML allow users to reserve GPU-based accelerated compute instances ahead of time for short ML workloads. These instances are automatically placed in Amazon EC2 Ultra clusters, which provide the high-performance networking necessary for demanding training jobs. Users pay upfront for the entire reservation period, offering predictable capacity without long-term commitments. Sharing this capacity is facilitated through AWS Resource Access Manager, AWS RAM. By using AWS RAM, the owner account can share a purchased capacity block with other accounts within the same AWS organization, transforming those accounts into consumer accounts that can launch instances using the shared capacity. The owner retains ownership and pays the upfront reservation cost, while consumers are responsible for additional operational costs like operating system licensing. To enable this cross-account sharing, specific prerequisites must be met. The management account requires specific IAM permissions, including RAM, enable sharing with AWS organization, to enable sharing within the organization. Furthermore, specific permissions like RAM, create resource share are needed to configure the sharing process via the AWS CLI. Once configured, the process involves creating a resource share, associating the capacity block, and consumer accounts automatically gain access. Owners can monitor utilization using Amazon CloudWatch alarms, setting thresholds to trigger notifications via Amazon Simple Notification Service, SNS, when utilization drops below a set level. AWS CloudTrail logs also provide visibility into API events and which accounts are consuming instances. This new capability allows organizations to flexibly shift capacity based on shifting priorities, reduce idle GPU resources, and maximize the return on compute investments. The report details the steps for sharing capacity blocks for ML, configuring AWS RAM integration, and implementing utilization monitoring to drive cost optimization. Amazon Web Services, or AWS, has effectively bypassed a significant shortage of Apple's Mac Studio computers by offering cloud access to the latest M3 Ultra systems. This move grants AWS control over the fastest public access to these high-end machines, which are currently unavailable to regular consumers due to limited RAM availability. Apple has indicated that prospective buyers may face wait times exceeding 2 months for the Mac Studio, as AI enthusiasts are heavily demanding stock to run local language models. Standard consumer models are limited to 96 GB of unified memory. However, AWS has announced a specialized, cloudy M3 Ultra configuration featuring 256 GB of unified memory, a specification not available on Apple's consumer website. These cloud instances run on actual Mac Studios equipped with powerful components, including a 28-core CPU, a 60-core GPU, and a 32-core neural engine. AWS is positioning these cloud Macs as an ideal platform for developers to build and test applications across the entire Apple ecosystem, including support for visionOS. Apple's on-premises virtualization is currently restricted to 2 VMs per host device and limited use cases. Crucially, the availability of this high-end cloud access is geographically limited to just 2 AWS regions, US East and US West in Oregon. Users outside these regions must continue to rely on the traditional on-premises hardware waitlist. This arrangement provides developers with immediate access to M3 Ultra compute power, potentially making it a critical solution for those unable to wait for physical hardware. While the financial viability compared to waiting for shipping delays remains to be seen, AWS has established a temporary monopoly on this cutting-edge compute power. Pricing for these new M3-based instances is currently undisclosed, and the long-term strategy regarding bare metal versus virtualized macOS instances remains unclear.